Ayo, yeah, that's B-Eazy, that's the name. Way before the world knew he was running the game. Laid the groundwork, built the foundation strong. Been influencing the whole scene all along. Now everybody gotta give that man his praise. A living legend for the rest of his days. Oh, he deserves all the accolades, yeah. B-Eazy, B-Eazy, gotta give that man his praise. A living legend for the rest of his days. Oh, he deserves all the accolades. B-Eazy, B-Eazy. We all here to see B-Eazy. We wanna listen to B-Eazy. Ayy, we all like B-Eazy. Nah, matter of fact, we love B-Eazy. Believe me, he really that dude. Subscribe to the channel, it's easy to do. If you care, then go ahead and share this fire content, extraordinarily rare. That's why I put that on my mama, he is that dude. And I put that on my daddy, he is that dude. So, ooh, B-Eazy. He got that certain kind of profile, smooth and effortless style. He's so fresh, makes the whole room stop and stare a while. Hear him asking, who's that? Mama, there he goes again. The way he moves, you know he's gonna win. Oh, you ain't know? That's just B-Eazy. B-Eazy Dat Dude. That man right there. B-Eazy.
Yeah. Listen up. It's B-Eazy Dat Dude, the great. He ain't fake, he one of the real guys. Spin fire every stream, you been late to the party, now it's time to realize. From Pittsburgh to around the world, yeah, the flow is elite. Every beat that he slide on turns into straight heat. Came up from the grind, selling box on a laptop, running up a bag, feel like he hit the jackpot. Got the luxury visions, ambition vivid, never bluff. Purses, progress, persevere when the going gets tough. B-Eazy Dat Dude, got stripes in the game. Every rhyme, every line, they gon' remember the name. From the streets to the stage, the energy don't fade. Legend in the making, yeah, history's what he's laid. Mic in his hand, heart in the flow and soul on every beat. Dropping knowledge, power, bravado, his legacy complete. Hustle amplified, lyrics electrified, that's the truth. B-Eazy Dat Dude, established with certified proof. Feel the bass, feel the vibe, let it ride through the crowd. All the words, every hook, man, he keeps making us proud. King of his lane, rising above every feud. All hail the one and only, B-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah.
I got the bag, niggas envy. You got a bunk bitch, huh? I love when the bad bitches hit me. They love when I'm bagging them 50. They love when I'm grabbing that semi. They love when I'm bagging them 50. They love when I'm grabbing that semi. I got a bad bitch with me. I got the bag, niggas envy. You got a bunk bitch, huh? I love when the bad bitches hit me. They love when I'm bagging them 50. They love when I'm grabbing that semi. They love when I'm bagging them 50. They love when I'm grabbing that semi.
I might pull up on your block, whipping and hit me, gripping and send me. I'm on one cause I've been sipping some Remy. These bitches wanna chew because that pimpin' is in me. It ain't on me and I ain't never been no phony. If I can't get no money with you, then we can't be homies. Ran a few racks up, had to get it by my lonely. I didn't hit it a phone, now shorty wanna give me some more like Buster. Damn, that ass shaped like Jim, that's why I call her Smucker. She just call me daddy every single time I fuck her. Get up in that box and hit it hard, it might rupture. Now she's soaking wet and then she wanted me to ass fuck her. After I eat that pussy up just like the last supper. I shown so much love, now I don't feel the hate. Yo nigga rap cool, but he's still a fade. I came about the mud and start dealing weight. Now I'm investing in stocks and real estate. My bitch gon' ride for me even if the wheels are break. I be killing shit from the wilderness like a wildebeest. If it's a play to make it, I'ma be smashing up quickly. You hit my line, then I decline when I'm bagging up 50. It's easy. Turn your radios up. Turn your radios up. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know who this is. B-Eazy Dat Dude, an impromptu stream, back with another one. This one will be a banger. Will ruffle some feathers, so it's gon' be a doozy. Don't like to keep y'all waiting, especially on a fly day, a fly night. So before we get this thing started, I gotta hit ya.
If you know the song, sing along. Yeah, you're right.
私も地元民と言っても実際に世代です。もう友達できたの？うん。グッドさんのこっち見ない。
Your competitors better catch up like 10 steps ahead. Look, this promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. Chicks are showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby, move it for me slow-mo. Then I'm right back to the block, cause I keep getting moto. I be flipping, not shrinking. I don't give a fuck about This nigga name ain't D-Lo, but pimpin' these bitches and stacking this bread forever be my stilo. This is B-Eazy Dat Dude in the trap making pass smooth. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji, eating tandoori and chicken curry. That ism is really in me. My pimp game international. I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of bad. And we are activated, and we've been joined by at least one illustrious guest, the East Coast finest, Mr. Nassau County, Roger Meadows in the building. Salute to Roger Meadows. And Roger, I'm glad you came, because we gonna get right into this thing. Reacting to a video from the lovely Sabrina Salvati. Salute to the sis, Sabby Sabs. I don't know when, but Sabby Sabs will be gracing this platform. I don't know exactly when, but you know, wait on it. So let me go ahead and pull this banner down, but we gonna get right into this thing, because I won't be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. Now, this particular video is about like 45-ish minutes. I'm not gonna react to the whole thing. The first part of the video, now Sabby is reacting to Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. Sambo, and Tucker, you know, the stooge Carlson, Tucker, the undercover bigot Carlson, right? And people try to give Tucker a pass because he'll occasionally say something you agree with, but you can't give him a pass. He is the heir to $1 billion dynasty, not 1,000, not 1,000,000, 1 billion, right? The Swanson dynasty. Not only that, his pappy was in the CIA. People love to throw out so-and-so is the CIA, so-and-so is the PSYOP, right? Well, Tucker Carlson's family actually was part of the CIA, and we've known all of the destructive and nefarious things that not only the CIA but other alphabet agencies have done to the Black American population specifically. Now, Stephen A. Smith, who's Caribbean, right? But, you know, he always, oh, I'm a black man. It's like, bro, you're a Caribbean dude. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when he believes
is advantageous to him. Once he wants to really wear his heart on his sleeve, his culture on his sleeve, he'll lean into his West Indian Caribbean heritage. But when he wants to talk to the black community, then he becomes blackety black. It's like, no, bruh, just, you're a Caribbean tap dancer. Let's just call it what it is. So I'm setting this up. Sabby will react, and I'll pause and get my reaction too. So, if y'all in the chat, announce yourself, and this one, will be an engaging one. So, as y'all seen the title and the thumbnail, Dwight Victimhood knows no bounds. It's funny because people like Tucker Carlson, they always tell black people to get over, get over slavery, get over these atrocities, right? That's still the vestiges of those still permeate today, right? And then here you have Tucker Carlson, when his community is in charge of anything notable, all of the infrastructure that you can speak of, his community is in charge of. And then he's going to go on a whiny tirade. White people were victims. It's like, okay, cool. If they were victims, who is victimizing them? Right? And then they try to frame some random gang banging thug in Chicago harmed some Lily W person. Okay, that's not the reason that you can't afford a home. They took our jibs, right? The old people they took our jibs. Okay, that's not because of George Floyd and BLM. You over here saying the great replacement theory, right? And we're being replaced by immigrants. Okay, who is doing that? You said that the blacks were too low IQ, too stupid, and have no infrastructural power to replace and displace you. So who would that be who has the power, the IQ, and the infrastructure to do that? Is people in his own community. And then rather than blame his community, rather blame his race or ethnicity, he starts to blame, it's the Democrats. Okay, fine. Let's just say it was the Democrats. What is the predominant race of that Democratic power structure? See, people don't want to get into that. When they talk about it's the Crips, it's the Bloods, they don't focus on Crips and Bloods. They talk about the black people who happen to be a Crip, the black person who happened to be a Blood. Well, if you saying that the Democrats are so bad, then tell me what race of those Democrats are so bad. And you know why they don't want to say nothing? Because when you start looking at the Democratic power structure and all of the people that they want to wag their fingers at, Chuck Schumer. What race is Chuck Schumer? What race is Jerry Nadler? What race is Nancy Pelosi? And look on the other side. What race is JD Vance? What race is Mitch McConnell? Just saying. 74% of Congress is white. 74%. Most of the military, white. Most of the defense contractors, white. Most pilots, white. Most firemen, white. Most scientists, white. Most Navy, white. Most Marines, white. And here you have Tucker Carlson whining, white people are victims. Okay, getting victimized by who? Your own people. So let's get into it. But before, we've been joined by the illustrious Frank Nitty, Mr. Gritty, putting on for the biddy. Salute, Frank Nitty. You spoke about the guy yesterday who was Swedish, who was speaking with the Freedman vernacular. Smith had me fooled. He has our same way of speaking in vernacular. This whole delineation got me. Yeah, Roger. Roger, I love you, bro. But if you didn't know Stephen A was Caribbean, Roger, my brother, I gotta hit you.
What? How please?
Nigga, please.
How? Nigga, what?
Nigga.
Nigga, please.
Nigga, please.
What?
Yeah, so, and this is the whole concept of tethering. And you're not a tether just because you have a different lineage or a foreign background. If you have, all a tether is a Sambo, a raccoon that's not of the lineage. Now, Stephen A. Smith, he always used to pop with his chest that He's Caribbean, he's West Indian, that his grandmother is white, that his mom. So again, where or you know what I mean? Where he has no lineage of a, you know, of a black American. He has a lineage of a West Indian American, but he's assumed our identity and pretty much abdicated his identity. I would love to know about the rich West Indian culture that Stephen A. Smith comes from, but you barely hear from it because he's always talking about the black community. It's like, what community are you talking about? You have your own distinct community, but you're trying to flat blackness and erase us culturally and ethnically under a banner of blackness to pretend that we're all the same. And we're not. And I'm not saying one or the other is different, but it's not divisive to be distinct. No other group thinks this way. And they just convince you that somehow it's divisive to honor your ethnicity, to honor your heritage and your ancestral lineage. Make it make sense. Looking at everyone black. Yeah, I get you, Roger. And, you know, I mean, the days of flat blackness are over, and we've been joined by the sensational and the sophisticated Sincere, Saida. So salute to you, Sincere. You said, I found out months ago, but this year I also don't watch sports. That's respectable. And also, I don't know if you've seen this, Roger, because I know Roger does have some driving gigs occasionally, or at least he used to. But do you know who Lee Daniels is? I think Lee Daniels is a filmmaker. He made that disgusting movie Precious along with some other of his W handlers, right? But anyways, this dude is like a flaming queen, right? And Lee Daniels, he was trying to catch a cab. I believe he was in New York. Lee Daniels was trying to catch a cab in New York, and it was a bunch of melanated immigrants who didn't want to give him a ride. Then he finally got a ride, and it was some African dude, and he was like, man, why did none of the so basically none of the African or the non-black cab drivers, none of them want to pick up Lee Daniels, who, mind you, he is a flaming queen, right? Not judging his lifestyle. I'm just saying that's what he is, right? So they didn't even want to pick up this little moist, sassy dude. So he had to call an Uber, and he was saying, thanks God for Uber. He got picked up by an Uber. It was another African, and he asked the African, like, bro, why didn't these other drivers pick me up? And the African told him, you look aggressive. Yeah, man, you look aggressive. It's like, bro, what? Okay. Do y'all know who Billy Porter is? Imagine Billy Porter with some Cartiers on. Billy Porter with some Ray-Bans on. Nobody has ever accused Billy Porter of looking tough. So this is what I'm trying to say. People now, because we was doing this whole flat blackness thing, oh look, a black cab driver. No, that wasn't a black cab driver. That was an African immigrant who didn't see himself as black, and then he subscribed to all the stereotypes, and that's why he didn't pick you up. People are trying to pretend like this never happened. This has currently happened, and it happened a heck of a lot in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, where none of these people will want to pick up black Americans, especially late night. It's late night after work and you try to call a cab. You think the Arab dude is gonna pick you up? You think the African, we are brothers, we are sisters from the motherland? Like, no, we're not, because they don't want to pick you up. They're literally on the continent with people that look like them. They're actual brothers, they're actual sisters, and they don't see them people as the same. And they come over here and we're supposed to pretend we're all the same. Okay, we're all the same. Why won't you even pick me up in a cab? We're people of color, but no other person of color wants to pick you up. How idiotic and pathetic does this sound? But let's get into it, because like I said, it will be a strong time. So I'm starting this video probably about halfway through, because I really want to get into, they spent most of it talking about Israel, and then I want to get into like Tucker when he goes on his like whiny victim harangue. And y'all let me know if y'all have any issues hearing me or the video.
go to Israel. He's never been there, and he said he loved the Israeli people and he would love to go to Israel. Stephen A. Smith, I got news for you. They don't love you. They don't love your black ass. They do not love you. Okay? If by now you don't know this information and you're in media, get out of here, man. Get out of here. Let's move to the next part. Because Stephen frustrates me quite some bit because he's trying to play dumb. Like I said, he knows who his boss is. Let's get to this part here. The part where Tucker Carlson talks about his vision.
Are working hard in real garages across
America. He got some pushback here. Listen.
Stuff. There has been this concerted effort to convince non-whites that whites are the problem. Whites are bad. Whiteness is bad. We hate whites. And to foment hatred between the races. Now, why have they tried to do that? Why would you ever do that? Which they have definitely done at, kind of scale for 60 years. Well, because when you're busy hating your neighbor on the basis of his race, they're busy looting your country, which they have done. So it's a diversion tactic. And the truth is, if you say what I just said to the majority of Americans of any color, they're like, well, of course that's right. Like, what's the purpose of having a government if it's not there to help you? Like, what? Then why do we have it? It's to help Bibi? Like, what are you even talking about? Of course you're a nationalist. Of course you're an America first and only. Doesn't mean you hate other countries. Like, I'm not for bombing other countries most of the time unless they're going to.
See, and this is where people, and I'm going to be pivoting right back and forth, but see, this is what Tucker does. He'll say some good things, but it's mixed in with a load of sugar, honey, iced tea. Let's run now. One more again. Hold on. Let me see. Hold up. Look at the victimhood.
By now,
out the gate.
You don't know this information and you're in media? Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Let's move to the next part. Because Steve.
So another thing Sabby was talking about, how Stephen A. Smith, he likes to do these interviews and pretend as, oh, he's just a neutral arbiter and I'm just trying to get to the facts and I don't know. If you don't know, bro, why are you trying to host these intellectual conversations that you don't know, right? Some people, they want to like, here, let's cue up alive and talk about something I don't know and I'll just learn on the fly. How about you study, you research, take the time, patience is a virtue, and come back when you actually have the facts. Interview people who are unbiased. He interviews people who have an agenda, who's part of an elite class, but they're pretending as if they speak for you. If you, as a middle class person, as a low class person, as a person that may be a low income person or a middle income person, right? The wealthy say, hey, you can't speak for me. You're a middle class person. You can't speak for me. But then somehow you look at the wealthy people and think that they can speak for you. How could they speak for you? They grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth, but somehow you think, well, they can relate to me. How? Nothing about your existence they can relate to. They can just pat you on the back and say, yeah, buddy, I feel your pain, right? They can comfort you rhetorically, but what could they relate to you, right? Vicariously, right? Spiritually, they can't. So it's just, weird that people like want to have these rich whack jobs be the mouthpiece for you. Tucker is anti-war. Is he really though? What is Tucker saying that's so anti-war that other prominent voices haven't already said? But because he has a bigger platform, we want to pretend as if Tucker is a fighter for the people. Tucker is set for life and his kids are set for life. So all this is a ploy to up his public profile so that maybe he can be president one day. But what would President Tucker really be running on, right? He's running on America first, but start asking Tucker about universal health care and all this other stuff. He waffles, right? He'll speak rhetorically as if it sounds good, but like he doesn't support it. And if he does support it, why didn't he support it on Fox News when he had the bully pulpit of media, right? Now he's supposed to be an independent journalist. Does he talk about universal health care? Does he talk about anything that's going to enrich the America First people. All he talks about is Israel is bad. Okay, Israel is bad because the people of Tucker's community, who are Americans, are allowing Israel to run amok. And this is what Tucker won't do. Instead, he'll try to blame. It's the Democrats. Who's in charge of the Democrats? What race? Because if we're talking about the Crips, they wouldn't stop there. It's the Crips. Okay, who in the Crips is doing what? And then they'll get specifics. It's the blacks. It's Tyrone. It's Jamal. It's Man. They get very specific when we're talking about gangs. What's the difference between a Republican? What is a more dangerous blue gang? The Crips or the Democrats? The Democrats have a lot more money. They have infrastructural power, right? They can get you offed and they can get away with it legally, right? So if you want to compare gang to gang, it's not even a contest. Crips are not as powerful as the Democrats, but you're looking at the Crips. It's like, oh my God, be afraid of the Crips. You haven't even seen a Crip. You don't even live in a neighborhood where Crips congregate. And if you have seen a Crip, it's what I call a cosmetic Crip. Someone that looks like a Crip and is, a fashionable Crip. Some people would call a studio gangster. But those Democrats, they're not studio gangsters, right? These people are warmongering wackos, right? And you can say the same thing about the red side, the red team. I ain't talking about the Bloods. I'm talking about the Republicans. The Republicans are a very violent warmongering cohort. But you've been convinced, oh my God, we have to worry about the Bloods. They're so dangerous. You don't live in a blood neighborhood. There's been no blood drive-bys, no blood gang activity. But because you've seen it on the news, oh my God, the Bloods are so bad. But you have seen the damage that Republicans could do in your locality. You have seen the damage that Democrats could do. Those are the gangs you need to be worried about. Not some Crips and Bloods. And you said, I think it's exclusively a Northeast thing because FBA from Dirty South are very generous. Yeah, I mean, the Southern hospitality is what they call it. That's why we get passed up like that, because of that reputation, just saying. But that's why everybody likes Uber, because on Uber, nobody tips. The great equalizer. Hey, you already know how I feel about tips. You got to earn it. Not everybody is just getting a tip. You're not getting a tip just because you're black, just because you got some triple D tetas. Hey, you got to earn this tip, baby. That's all I'm saying. Funny how Tucker can have an epiphany about the Jays, but not us. The same for Owens too. And that's what I'm saying. All of these people are, they're con artists, right? But let's run that back and see like the victimhood of Tucker.
Even frustrate me quite some bit because he's trying to play dumb. Like I said, he knows who his boss is. Let's get to this part here. The part where Tucker Carlson talks about his vision for America. He got some pushback here. Listen.
So when he's talking about his vision for America, he's again setting up his public profile so he could eventually try to run for president. But listen to what he's going to be running on. Like, it's all buzzwords. We're going to restore the soul of the nation, right? We're going to make things fair. We're going to make things cleaner, right? We're going to bring jobs back. It's just all buzzwords and bumper stickers. But let's hear what he has to say.
Stuff. There has been this concerted effort to convince non-whites that whites are the problem.
There's been this concerted effort to convince non-whites that whites are the problem. So first of all, are whites the problem? And when I say whites, it doesn't mean every single person, because realistically, there's been a concerted effort for Tucker Carlson and people of his ilk to say that blacks were the problem. So he had no issue when people were saying the blacks were the problem. What about black on black crime and fatherless homes? Tucker Carlson was beating that drum, right? So we had no issue with people currently saying that blacks are the problem. And if someone says, well, whites are the problem, Then suddenly, what's wrong with that? They've taught you to hate whites. No, people don't hate whites, right? And many people really talk about dub supremacy, the system of it. And then these people will say that it doesn't exist. Tucker Carlson says systemic racism didn't exist. He said it's a hoax, right? This was what he was saying to ridicule black people. Then Tucker Carlson, only a couple years, right? Only a couple years ago, he says systemic racism is real, but only against white people. Now, let's just concede and say that that's real. If systemic racism is real against white people, who is implementing it, right? It's definitely not the model minorities. They love kissing white mommy and daddy's booty too much and licking the crack. They're not doing anything. There's no race called Hispanic. There's no race called Latino. Many Latinos practice blanqueamiento, mejoró la raza. So they're trying to get closer to white mommy and daddy so they can kiss butt and lick crack as well. Many melanated immigrants are trying to get closer to white mommy and daddy, kiss butt. So where is all this hatred towards white people that he's talking about? Someone calls them out for some atrocities that they're done, and then they say you hate white people. This is the pathetic nature of people like Tucker Carlson. They'll try to say, we conquered this land. This land wasn't stolen, it was conquered. Okay, fine, I can't hold you. This land was conquered. Now tell me in precise, intricate details what you did to conquer this land. Don't try to tell me you pulled out the good book and whispered sweet nothings in their ear. No, tell me all of those girls and women that you forcibly penetrated and violated. Tell me about the men you castrated. Tell me about the men that you fondled and buck broke. Tell me about the men that you mutilated, right? This is what you did when you conquered, right? You're proud of what you conquered. We didn't steal the land. We conquered it. Okay. I want to learn from your, divine barbarism. So could you tell me in very gory details? We're all adults here, right? You don't need to give us the G-rated version. Give me the R-rated version of what you did when you conquered. And then suddenly when they start to tell you what they did when they conquered the land and the people, then suddenly they're like, but you want me to have white guilt. I didn't tell you to have guilt. Now, if you internally feel guilty for all the sick, twisted, diabolical, sinister, and insidious stuff that you done, that's some introspection that you have to deal with yourself, right? So they always talk about white guilt. Like, what white person do you know that's truly feeling guilty? Like, seriously, like, drop it in the chat. I've never met a white person that's going around and felt like they were hindered by white guilt. I can't get a job. Why not? Because of white guilt. Huh? Like, come on now. They tell black dudes and black people in general, don't cry, right? It's not the man. It's not the system holding you back. Ain't that what y'all say? But then suddenly y'all want to pretend as if it's white guilt that's holding me back. Again, y'all said that blacks were unorganized, too stupid, and didn't have any infrastructural power. So who is hiring you? Who is firing you? The people who are hiring you, white. The people who are firing you, white. The reason why, the laws that you hate are getting passed is because Congress is majority white. Congress is 74% white. If you owned a company and you had 74% ownership of the company and the company tanked and someone blamed you, why are you blaming me? I only own 74% of the company. People be like, do you hear yourself? Your racial demographic controls 74% of Congress. And then when people blame not every white person, but this cohort, this contingent of white people who are pulling the levers of power, then suddenly you hate white people. No, I hate this cruel and unjust system. And it happens to be run by white people, but not all white people agree, with the heinous nature of this system. But let's get back into it though. But you hearing them out the gate, Victimhood 101. Y'all hate white people.
Whites are bad. Whiteness is bad. We hate whites.
Whoever said whiteness is bad, literally Latinos, no Latino or Hispanic is saying whiteness is bad. Go ask Sammy Sosa if he thinks whiteness is bad. Go ask Bad Bunny if he thinks whiteness is bad. Go ask Cameron Diaz or Jennifer Lopez if they think whiteness is bad. So again, who the hell is Tucker talking about? And then people be like, yeah, stick it, Tucker. Like, what is he saying? He's not cooking. He's whining and babbling incoherently, right? And then if there was someone saying whiteness is bad, it was other white people. So he's saying, oh, they've convinced non-white people to be mad at white people. Who is the they? Again, it's his community, but he won't call out his community in explicit terms, right? When they want to talk about crime, they explicitly say black owned, black crime, right? Black fatherless homes, black culture, right? When they want to get real specific. Now, when he's talking about this particular mythical community, he's just saying they did this and they said that. And who is they? He doesn't want to say who the they is, because the they is the people that look just like him, the Lily W's, right? He never wants to call out whites. He doesn't call out white on white crime. He'll say it was the Democrats, it was the leftists. Yeah, but what race there's no race called Democrat and there's no race called leftist. So what is the race of the people you're talking about? And 9 times out of 10, it's always white. But rather than saying that, he's just going to talk about the Democrats, the leftists, the libs. It's rather pathetic.
And to foment hatred between the races. Now, why have they tried to do that? Why would you ever do that? Which they have definitely done at,
Why have they tried to do it? Which they have definitely done. Who was the they? And then he'll try to frame, well, it's the Jews. Well, there's no race called Jewish. So what Jewish people? And then you look and he's accusing some Ashkenazi Jews who are racially classified as white. And I know people like to push back. No, Jews are not white. Okay, if Jews are not white, when there's time for them to check a box on the census, there's no John Wick is not behind them with a gun forced to their head. 92% of American Jews identify as racially white, and that's accurate because they have European ancestry. Many come from Poland, Ukraine, Russia, right? Lithuania. So yes, since there's no race called Jewish, it's accurate for them to be identified racially as white. But what gets pathetic is that they identify racially as white. You call them white. You can't call us white, but you are. And you're legally classified as that way. Yeah, I'm legally classified as white. And yeah, I check the white box. Just don't call me white. Call me Jewish. Well, guess what? On the census, there's always been a box called other. If Jewish people are not white, why don't they check the other box and write in Jewish? People consider Jewish people to be a protected class and a chosen group of people, right? You mean to tell me this group of people, they can get billions and billions from the U.S. government, but they can't get a teeny tiny box that says Jewish? Remember, it's a race, it's an ethnicity, right? In 2030, there'll be another box. It's called MENA, Middle Eastern North African. So you mean to tell me they can get MENA on a census, but they can't get Jewish? Well, they could get Jewish. The thing is, if you put Jewish on the census, you might as well put Muslim. You might as well put Hindu and Buddhist, because again, there's no race called Jewish. So when are we just going to stop pretending that the majority of Jews in America identify as racially white and no one is forcing them to do that? But yeah, I mean, keep separating them, whatever makes you feel better.
Kind of scale for 60 years. Well, because when you're busy hating your neighbor on the basis of his race, they're busy looting your country, which they have done.
And look at the disingenuous nature. When you're too busy hating your neighbor, like, bro, your community is the one who redlined people. They didn't want to live next to people based on your race. And see, and this is what Tucker tries to do. Like, oh, it's they who want you to hate your neighbor. No, there was no one putting a battery in white people's back saying that NIMBY not in my backyard. I don't want to live next to the nigs, right? That wasn't Bibi Netanyahu who did that. There was no, it wasn't the Jews who did that, right? There was no Jewish person that forced white people to white flight and redlining. So again, he's like, well, they're pitting us against each other. They're making you hate your neighbor. Like, what neighbor are you talking about? All of your neighbors are white. You don't hate your neighbors, right? Even if it's a neighborhood of Republicans and Democrats, if they're white, they don't hate each other. Now, if it's a neighborhood of some whites and some blacks, they may hate the neighbor. They may hate the black person, not because he's a Democrat or a Republican, based on his skin tone. And Tucker is trying to act like, no, this doesn't exist. They are trying to foment hate, but he never reiterates who the they is because he knows that the they are people that look just like him. This is the victimhood of it all. He's whining about something that his community created. They're trying to foment hate. Yeah, your community is doing that.
So it's a diversion tactic. And the truth is, if you say what I just said to the majority of Americans of any color, they're like, well, of course that's right. Like, what's the purpose of having a government if it's not there to help you? Like, what? Then why do we have it? It's to help Bibi? Like, what are you even talking about? Of course you're a nationalist. Of course you're an America first and only. Doesn't mean you hate other countries. Like, I'm not for bombing other countries most of
Damn, my bad. I was cooking, y'all. But thank you for letting me know that, Roger. But essentially what I was saying was, man, I gotta try to pick that up because I was cooking. Could you hear me now, Roger? You said he's a bot. You're talking about Tucker Carlson, or who you talking about? Shout out to Mike Mack Chicago. That's one heck of a name. You said you gonna jump on in a minute? Okay. Just let me know. Could y'all still hear me before I proceed? Okay, cool. All right, let me go back. I want to give you a comment. You said he's talking about Democrat politicians. Letitia James pointed to her 2018 remark complaining about political figures who are male, pale, and stale while encouraging women to run for office. But still, it's his community who propped her up, right? When all you got to do is follow the money. And when you follow the money, it's people mainly in his community who's funding Letitia James. So again, all they do is put a melanated figurehead to be like, hey, look at what the black community thinks, right? Letitia James doesn't speak for the entire black community. No one person does. Now, if you start hearing a collective, pulse of a particular sentiment, then you know that that's a grassroots sentiment, i.e. the delineation process, right? That's something that's like grassroots, right? Like that there was no meeting, there was no rally about it. Like it just happened organically. People like Letitia James, there's nothing organic about that. These people were selected, they are elected, but they were selected to be elected, and oftentimes they rig the election in their favor because they know that these people are puppets. And who are the puppet masters? It's people in Tucker's community. Instead, he's talking about y'all blaming white people. Well, who is funding all this stuff? See, when you ask them, whose country is this? Well, this is a white Christian nation. Okay, so if this is a white Christian nation and the whites are in charge and things go to sugar honey iced tea and someone blames the whites, why are you blaming the whites? Because you guys are in charge. Remember, you conquered this land. You're a heritage American, so who else am I supposed to blame, right? It's almost like Jerry Jones, not blaming Jerry Jones for the Cowboys failing. No, don't blame me. Blame Dak Prescott. Like, hold on, you're the one who paid Dak Prescott. You drafted Dak Prescott. You believed in him. You didn't want to trade him. You paid him money. So whether he performs or doesn't perform, The buck stopped with you. You're the owner of the team. So you need to take ownership of what's wrong with the team. So these people who are so-called heritage Americans, they pretend as if, hey, my ancestors built this, right? So they try to take ownership over the country. And then fine, if you're going to take ownership over the country, that means you have to take blame when things, go to sugar, honey, iced tea, but they don't want to take blame. They want to say, we conquered this land. Okay, you conquered this land. So now it's yours, right? So now we have to blame you when things go awry, because remember, this is your land. And then they try to say, no, it's the commies. Okay, cool. What commies? What race are those commies? And then when they start talking about the immigrants, it's the immigrants. Okay, who opened the border? Clinton, white dude. Bush, white dude. Who gave immigrants mass amnesty? Reagan, white dude. Biden let in millions and millions, white dude. George Floyd didn't open the border. What about BLM? BLM didn't open the border and have a mass caravan of migrants. So all the stuff, Tucker Carlson is one of the main proponents beating the drum of the great replacement theory. And it was people in his community who opened the border. And then they still, what about black on black crime? Black on black crime is not what caused your neighborhood to be displaced by immigrants. You had your head in the sand because you were worried about some crusty, musty, dusty nigga from Oakland and St. Louis that did a drive-by, did a crime, and got locked up. He was held accountable. He got locked up. They're getting sweat equity out of him. This dude is in the fire camp. This dude is making license plates, right? He's being held accountable. Meanwhile, who's holding Tucker's community accountable for all of these wars? We've already spent over $100 billion in Iran. How much infrastructure could you build? They talking about all this black on black crime. How many dilapidated neighborhoods could they have cleaned up for $100 billion? So I don't want to hear about the crime because y'all letting this crime go on. Y'all want the crime to go on. So you have something to complain about. Well, I say, hey, YNs run amok and give them something to complain about. We have solutions to get these YNs off the street. It's like, no, that'll cost too much. And then they terrorize the city and then they say, it costs too much. Well, it would have been cheaper to keep them out of prison. In California, did you know the taxpayer is on the hook? $80K per prisoner. Now think about this. They won't give that prisoner $5K so he can say, hey, look, hey, you a hustler, right? I'm going to give you $5K. You flip this, you better stay out of trouble, right? I can guarantee you that dude would be able to find a legal route to flip that $5K and have some level of sustenance in life. Instead, you want to lock them up for a non-violent drug offense, and California taxpayers are on the hook. $80K at minimum per year per prisoner, right? What is fiscally conservative about that? Lock those niggas up. It's like you're not rehabilitating anyone. And then all of these Bible thumpers, right? They get mad, right? They always talk about only God could judge, but they judge felons all the time. The only felon they don't judge is Trump, right? You do the crime, you do the time. Isn't that what they say? They don't say you do the crime, you do the time, and then get judged for the crime that you done even after you do the time. I thought you were supposed to be rehabilitated. Okay, fine. I learned my lesson. I did the time. And remember, only God could judge me. But is that really true? Society judges you. Oh, you have a felony. Ooh, I really don't want you around any money, working a job with money. Ooh, you have a felony. I really don't want you around any kids. Ooh, I don't want you around any women. Ooh, I don't want you around any sensitive documents. So what is that felon supposed to do? And then they turn to a life of crime because you don't want to hire them. You don't want anything to do with them. And then you start whining. See, it's just their culture. No, it's American culture, right? It doesn't have anything to do with race. And doesn't the Bible talk a lot about forgiveness, right? Shouldn't we supposed to be forgiving and understanding and loving of the least of thee? But instead we look at the least of thee and say, you have a felon. Okay. If you were in a pool and someone jumped in to save you, and it's like, no, don't save me. Why not? You're a felon. It's like, how much does that felon stuff like truly matter, right? Because there's a lot of felons putting out fires. Again, your house is on fire. Someone breaks in to save you. No. Before you save me out this burning building, I just got one question. Are you a felon? It's like, come on. Many of the materials in your house that are being made, they're being made by felons in the prison system. So do you really have an issue with felons? Just saying. Some of these chicks have fantasies of getting ramrodded from the front and from the back by a felon. So do you really have an issue with felons? I'm just saying. And shout out to Mike Mack. He says, Tucker definitely. Yeah, Tucker, the bigot and the stooge. Nope, this was a black Democrat establishment here in New York who propped her up to be selected by our community. That's New York politics. Well, that makes sense too. But even those black Democratic establishment, they're propped up by who? You know what I mean? It gets deeper. You got to go to the root cause. It's not just those blacks, like they have so much power, you know what I mean? They're put in positions of power, but they have no power because they were put in positions of power to be puppets. And they only put people in power that they have certain types of dirt and scandals on, that they can unleash the Kraken at any time. They can Andrew Gillum you at any time. That's the only reason why, you know. Or if they don't hit you with an Andrew Gillum, you know, you'll end up like Corey Bush and Jamal Bowman and stuff. Remember, they were part of the squad. They were progressive. And all you got out of Jamal Bowman was a hip hop day. Okay. You got the fat governor in Chicago, J.B. Pritzker. They just recently said, you know what, this day is going to be Emmett Till Day. Like, they didn't do anything when his mother was alive. They didn't do anything when that lion, I believe her name was Carolyn Bryan, when that lion cuckoo Karen lied on our young brother. They didn't do anything. And they said, hey, black community, we love y'all. We want you to vote blue no matter who. So we gonna give you a Emmett Till Day. Nobody was asking for that. No, seriously, like, shout out to Emmett Till. What happened to him was disgusting. It shows you the historical atrocities and degeneracy within people in Tucker's community. But no, we don't need any more symbolic or rhetorical gestures. Nobody was asking for a George Floyd statue. Nobody was asking for an Emmett Till Day. We're asking for reparations. We're asking for a anti-black hate crime bill. We're asking for direct investment into the communities, worker co-ops, grants, tax-free status. I mean, there's multiple things that you can do. And salute to Frank Nitty. I appreciate you. And you said some scandalous ninja in LA didn't make gas go up. And this is what I'm trying to say. They always talk about black on black crime. Okay, fine. You want to talk about black on black crime. And then, bam, abracadabra, you wave a magic wand and there's no black on black crime. And guess what? You still can't afford a home. Your family, your kids can't afford a home. You can't afford to put your kids through college, right? Is that because of George Floyd and BLM? Remember, black on black crime doesn't exist anymore, and you still can't afford a home. The interest rates are through the roof. So who are you going to blame? And remember, who's in charge? It's not the blacks. Remember, you said the blacks were too stupid to be in charge. You said the blacks were too unorganized to be in charge. Okay, so we can rule out the blacks. There's no black power. There's no black crime. Matter of fact, black people are just non-existent in this new age world. That's what you want, right? So now that blacks are out the way, guess what? You still can't afford health care. You don't have health care. You can't afford dental. If you can't afford it, your kids can't afford it. Your kid got a useless degree and they've been replaced by AI. And then the lower end jobs that they want to get, why would they hire an American citizen when they can get an undocumented immigrant for less than half the price? But again, let's blame George Floyd and BLM. It's all about environment and strategic planning. It's $1 billion industry. Correct. This is why they always whining about crime. Literally think about this. Crime is at historical low rates. Crime in the 80s was insane. Crime in the 90s, insane. Crime in the early 2000s, insane. Would make your head spin. Now, crime, yeah, it could still be rampant in certain areas, but those are in localized and centralized areas. Crime, especially violent crime, has dropped over 50% since the 80s, right? But still every year, what about crime? What about crime? Crime every year. And then every year they get more things, more money, more guns, more police officers. And then every year they just keep whining every year. And what do they tell you? You can't throw money at the problem. You can't throw money at the problem. But instead, what do they always do with the police? Hey, throw us more money. But I thought you couldn't throw money at the problem. Police aren't solving crimes. Hey, give us more money. Police aren't stopping crime. Hey, give us more money. How? And then you give them more money, and guess what? They're still not solving crime. They get more money, and then every year they keep talking about, yeah, but crime is out of control. You give them more money. Yeah, but crime is out of control. You give them more money. Yeah, but crime. It's like, God, dog, how much money do you need? And every time, not only do they need more money, they're always whining that they fear for their life. Think about this. Many of the Dems and a lot of the Republican wackos let them do it, right? They always want to take your guns. They talk about gun control, not responsible gun ownership, right? And then they fear monger you. Oh my God, look at these neighborhoods. They're so violent, right? But then why would you want to take, why would you want to take my firearms? Why wouldn't you want these people to be able to protect themselves? This will help mitigate much of that crime that you're talking about. This will help, I will say mitigate the need for all of these cops, right? If you know there's some grandmas on the street that's packing, some sisters that's packing legally, of course. Yeah, that in itself would be a deterrence for crime. But instead, every year they're talking about how they fear for their life. So again, you're supposed to walk through a crime-ridden area and all you need is your cell phone because, man, you can call 911, right? That's all you need is your cell phone. But with them, they have dogs. They have real dogs, canine dogs. They have robot dogs. They have drones that shoot. They have drones that just record. They have AKs, M16s, rocket launchers, frag grenades. C4. They got an attack chopper. They got a tank. They got battering rams. And still, I fear for my life. You fear for your life while you're in a bulletproof vest with a bulletproof shield. You pulled up in a bulletproof tank with a robot dog. I fear for my life. If you're scared, go to church. So again, if someone joins the army and then they're in a war and they say, hey, I feared for my life in a war, people be like, hey, well, that's kind of what you signed up for in the army, right? So when people do, you sign up to be a cop and say, I risk my life. Okay, well, if you signed up to risk your life, like, why are you whining? I was scared. You were scared with a M16 in your hand? You were scared with an AR-15 in your hand? When you were hiding behind a bulletproof truck? Like, okay, like I said, maybe you're not cut out to be a cop. I mean, you can always go to church. Why give the government funding and the state funding to them when crime down to terrorize and police us? And this is why they have to keep those arrest records up to try to pretend as if crime is rampant out of control. Because the thing is, if crime continuously drops, then that means they don't need all of this overtime. They don't need all of these guns and all of these gadgets and gizmos. But the thing is, if they keep painting this black boogeyman, what about black on black crime? And they try to make it pretend like, hey, we're just over policing because we really want to protect the community. But that's not what it is. It's just, ushering in a soft nanny state. And unfortunately, all of the MAGA morons and moist maniacs, they don't see it because they like, oh, they're sticking it to the blacks. But what they do to us in the morning, they're going to come do to you in the afternoon and double back at night. But you didn't care because you thought they were sticking it to the blacks. But I thought you didn't see color. I thought we were all human beings. Thought we were all Americans. So if they're sticking it to other Americans, why won't you stand up for us? So all the people, you're making it about race. Is like, no, actually, you're making it about race. You won't stand up for my community because of their racial makeup. So who's truly making it about race? And it's not that the cameras don't work. It's just the cameras are not on. Every time they, not every time, but oftentimes if they shoot somebody, the camera is off and they like, oopsie, my bad. What is those cameras are very high def. So they have a 4K camera sitting on their chest, but oftentimes it's not on. Oopsie, my bad. Trust me, bro. And you're supposed to pretend as if cops just don't lie. Cops are human beings. None of us are infallible. So cops lie as well. Yeah, that's all they care about is money, 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 shmoney. And that's why they got to keep demonizing you so that they have a new crop of bodies, you know. And many people, they have stocks in these private prisons. And on top of that, many of these prisons get funding based on how many bodies they have in the beds. So if it's not at a darn near full capacity, they'll find a way to lock some people up. Now, always remember, solutions are permanent, and when corporations partner with the government, solutions will never come because they are bad for business. Get rid of these partnerships and let the government do certain things for less. All right, let's get back into this thing.
At the time, unless they're bombing us. So like, I'm not against other countries. And by the way, I've been to almost every country on the planet and I like them all. So it's not that. It's like, why do you have a government? It's to look out for you and your interests. That's why you pay taxes. This whole conversation is like bonkers, but the race stuff is the most upsetting. And what you see when you really drill down, because it divides people permanently. The Democratic Party has spent 60 years telling non-white voters that whites are the problem and that whites hate them because.
So you see what he said, the Democratic Party. Okay, but who leads the Democrat Party, right? This is what I'm saying. If somebody is talking about the Mexican cartel, right? They let it be known that we're talking about Mexicans. You feel me? Hold on. Give me 1 second. But here when he's talking about, well, the Democrat Party, he's making it seem like everyone in the Democrat Party is making this conscious or concerted effort, but that's not the case. It's the leaders of the Democrat Party. And just look at who is leading the Democrat Party. Who are the racial leaders of the Democrat Party? Chuck Schumer, Jerry Nadler, Nancy Pelosi. You can go on and try to find, and then they'll say, oh, Barack Obama. Well, Barack Obama is biracial. He's half white and half Kenyan. So even still, it's still predominantly run by people in Tucker's community. But rather than say that, rather than mention their race, he's trying to downplay it. Well, it's just the Democrats, and the race thing is so upsetting. Like, bro, he spent his whole career pandering to race fans. And then now he's acting like, oh my God, man, I just wish we can just let go of the race stuff. It's like, does anyone think that Tucker Carlson lives around a bunch of average black person? His view of a black person is distorted because he's talking to people like Ice Cube and Stephen A. Smith, right? Celebrities. And then we're supposed to pretend as if he has an accurate representation of understanding the black experience. But let's play this again.
When you really drill down, because it divides people permanently. The Democratic Party has spent 60 years telling non-white voters that whites are the problem and that whites hate them because they're not white. That's a freaking lie, dude. That's a lie.
Okay, but what about,
and a lot of black people believe it.
But
And then he's saying, man, that's a lie, dude. And for black people to believe it, why wouldn't they believe it? They believe it because this is what they've been subjected to. And he's getting very vehement and vociferous, man. That's a lie, man. The Democrats are lying. It's like, come on, bro. You spent the bulk of your career pandering narratives to try to make black people inferior, to pretend as if we just have a disgusting, degenerate culture. And he always tries to pivot. Well, I have black friends and I love black people and all this stuff. And then because he tries to do this in a very calm manner, people think that, oh man, you got to let Tucker cook. Well, Tucker is a liar, right? And you can't let Tucker off the hook because this dude went to all the prestigious universities. He was born not with a silver spoon. He was born with a platinum spoon in his mouth. And you're pretending as if Tucker Carlson, were you born with a platinum spoon? You have nothing in common with Tucker except he occasionally parrots your talking points. But no, if you ask Tucker, hey, does someone from the middle class, does someone from low income speak for you? He's going to say, hell to the no, no, no. So how could Tucker, a rich, 100+ millionaire, how could he speak for you? You've never had $100 million and you never will. So how could you relate to Tucker? Well, he's anti-war. Is he really though? Just saying. Beware of the deceivers. And Tucker pretends like he doesn't know who Lee Atwater is and how he perfected the Southern strategy using white resentment of certain gains black people made during the civil rights era. And this is what's rather pathetic about Tucker, because we can't let him off the hook. Remember, he went to all the prestigious universities. He was born with a platinum spoon. And these are the people that love to talk about y'all got low IQ. Okay, well, you have a high IQ, right? So you should know this. So we can't let him off the hook. And this is what I'm saying. Tucker is a stooge, a bigot, and a pompous prick, to be honest. But he is a smart dude. I can't act like he's a dummy, which is why I won't let him off the hook. And Frank Nitty, is that you, really?
What up, man? What's good, man? How you doing, man? Good looking out for letting me on the show and everything, man. That's real, man. But this is very good topic, man. Very good topic. Very good subject, man. This dude, like you said, he's the heir of a Swanson family. These people have silver spoons in their mouth. And see, my thing is, don't touch on poverty because you've never been poor. White people shouldn't be talking about race relations or any of that stuff. It's just like somebody being a gang expert that's not in a gang. You know what I'm saying? I think
bingo. It's like I don't want to hear from you, bruh. I want to hear from the gang, man. You was on the sideline. Talk to me about the nerd stuff that you know. I'll listen to that. And this is what I'm trying to say. Because if you try to give Tucker some money advice, he gonna be like, bro, I'm 100 millionaire several times over. Like, I'm not listening to some advice from you. So isn't that the same? Like, I don't want to hear no poverty, no grassroots advice from Tucker. Nothing about him is grassroots.
Yeah, exactly. And then the thing is with these people is just the most privileged people, man. And then see, like, for example, like what I peep right now, I was just peeping like with this Nolan Wells thing, right? I was just taking heed how, and then they got the governor talking about going at Ben Crump. But my thing is, for one, I don't know if whatever this whole situation is, but that's messy, right? That looks very unprofessional. That is unprofessional to come at Ben Crump talking about some kind of division. But Mississippi is one of the racist states in the country, though. So this division happened way before Ben Crump was even alive. So I don't want to hear, you know what I'm saying? It's deflection. And you notice they always say division or this some kind of division when it's a white suspect and a black person. You notice that? Or it's some kind of white and black issue. They always bring up a division or somebody, and they always try to say, they either say it's a division with us, we're making it divisive, or they either say we're making it about race. But like like you were saying, man, we don't control the news, bro. We don't control the media. We don't control nothing.
So who truly is making it about race, right? Exactly. It's like I said, and this is where the cowardice comes in, right? Tucker Carlson will say they're pushing this and they're pushing that. You know who runs the Democratic Party, right? He'll say the Democrats did this. Who runs the Democrats? It's people that look like Tucker Carlson. but he won't say that it's white people doing that, right? If it's a gang and it's a bunch of black people, they're not going to say, well, gangs are terrorizing the community. They're going to say blacks are terrorizing the community, right? So when the Democrats, the white Democrats are running the country into the ground, why won't you say that it's white people doing it? Because this is what him still trying to play the sleight of hand and be on code. So since he's a Republican or he claims to be an independent, he gets to bash the Democrats without making a racial argument. But nah, we want specificity. We're in the information age. Fine, I concede it is the Democrats. And then you got to ask them a follow-up question. What predominant racial group is in the positions of power in the Democrats? And then they start saying, well, why do you got to make it about race? I'm not making it about race. I'm making this about truth, justice, and accuracy. So again, this isn't about race, right? Because maybe there were some white Democrats who did some nefarious stuff. They didn't do it because they're white. They just done it because they were bad people and they happened to be white and they happened to be Democrat. But let's be specific about it. They always want to be specific about everything else, right? If they say the Democrats passed the civil rights bill or the Republicans passed this bill, right? They want to get extra specific about the specific parties, right? But then they don't want to get specific about the racial makeup. 74% of Congress is white. So if something was to go down, if something was to fail, and there was a racial demographic to blame, who would be to blame? The group that's predominantly in charge. That doesn't mean that every single white person is responsible. I'm just talking about the particular people in this governing body.
Facts. Like, and it's it's a goalpost shift, man. And it's always and they always talk about, see, like you were saying, we broke it down. That was good, man. Like they deflect from crime. Like crime has been down for how long now? And we're still. Why are we funding these? See that even like I was for defunding the police. I wasn't. See, a lot of people don't know defunding the police is just bankrupt them. Defunding police is basically saying stop some of that funding from either.
No, it what it essentially meant was just it really didn't even mean stop the funding. It just meant reallocate the funding. It just mean like let's say that the police funding, I'm gonna just throw a random number. Let's say the police funding was 1.5 mil. It would say, look, we giving the police 1 mil, take that 0.5, and that 0.5 could go to intervention programs that will, mental health, suicide prevention, gang intervention, right? Instead, they were like, so y'all still gonna get $1 million. All we saying is that of that $1 million, we gonna shave off 500,000 to go towards these other programs. And then even that was a bridge too far, because even and then the people say, oh, the defund the police was a bad slogan. I mean, that's kind of a mixed bag. It was a good slogan in terms of being polarizing. However, it could be viewed as an ineffective slogan just because people were able to attack it. But the people didn't stand on business enough for the slogan, because a lot of people say, oh, well, because right now, if you say defund the police, that sounds like a buzzword and bumper sticker. And I know Mike Mack says restructure, but what is in this is why I use the term buzzwords and bumper stickers. Defund the police is a buzzword and a bumper sticker. But if you say restructure the police, right? Reallocate the funds for the police, reallocate the funds for the police, defund the police, like which one sounds more straightforward? Now, yeah, you may want to restructure and reform the police, restructure and reform the police. People gonna be, that's really what you want. But when people were saying restructure, no one listened. People were saying reform, no one listened. People said defund, everyone ears perked up. But it essentially means the same thing. Now, some people were talking about abolish the police entirely. Those are some of the radical people. And sometimes they try to get the most radical and try to pretend as if this fringe group represents the entire collective. But you're always going to have the super radical people, just like those Charleston people running in the streets. Jews will not replace us. Jews will not replace. Is every white going to do that? No, but that was a radical version of a particular contingent, right? So yeah, some people are gonna want to abolish the police, but the majority of people were saying, nah, we know the police gonna get their funding, just restructure that funding. And since wording it that proper way, it just doesn't have as much oomph as defund the police, unfortunately. So that defund was able to get weaponized. But I'm gonna play a little bit more of the video. We're gonna break some of it down, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. So let me play this.
But Tucker, as a black man, what about from?
Let me pause for a second. So this is where we got to push back, because here's the thing. The Democratic Party is they all over the place sometimes. They use it sometimes in elections and stuff like that. But this thing is this. There's a difference between saying the problem is white people and white people hate you, and the system is fucked up. Right? So the system is fucked up. The system that we have in this country is not fair. It's not equal. One of the things that Tucker Carlson mentioned was public education system. He talked about the public schools. If you're at a public school in the inner city, like it's horrible. He's right. The public schools in the inner city are horrible. And part of that is because of the fact that there's not enough for the property taxes. Property taxes go towards funding these public schools. And so the problem that you run into a lot of times in the inner city, people don't own shit. Most people are renters. So that's less funding for the school. That's the system. Let me know, Tuck. See, if I had a conversation with Tucker Carlson, I would Stephen A is pushing back. He is going to push back here. But if I had a conversation with Tucker Carlson.
The thing is, Stephen A can only push back so far because Stephen A is of a Caribbean background. So he's not really entrenched in the spirit of the soil. You know what I mean? And there's various people of different backgrounds that are able to articulate the point the way it needs to be. But, since Stephen A. Sambo, he has the proclivity for tap dancing, boot licking, and butt kissing. He's not really going to push back appropriately with Tucker. He's going to let Tucker get off a bunch of lies, say the lies aggressively, and Stephen A is bowing down. No, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just asking questions. It's like, see, bro, if he's going to have these discussions, he needs to be a moderator. Set it up so that somebody else who's on code, who's of the lineage, who's not Caribbean, right? Because he's trying to speak for us. He starts bringing up the history of Jim Crow and all this stuff. It's like, bro, your people weren't even here during Jim Crow, right? Your people didn't go through the debt peonage and sharecropping and all this stuff. So now, because there's this global flat blackness, people just try to assume an identity, right? And try to pretend based on melanin that we went through this. Like, no, you didn't. And that's why when all these cats is, we did this and we did that.
Who is we? Who is we?
Japanese people are Asian. I'm just saying, Japanese people are Asian. Filipino people are Asian. Filipinos don't come over and say, we went through internment because we Asians was interned. No, you weren't. You're Filipino. Yeah, you're Asian, but you weren't interned. So people come over. I'm Jamaican. I'm Senegalese. And when we went through Jim Crow, it's like, bro, you came here in 2005. Like, what are you talking about? We went through Jim Crow. But, you know what I mean? Because people have accepted this flat blackness, we have to pretend like we all the same. We all the same struggle. Like, no, it's not. But let's play some more.
I think I could break this down better than the way that Stephen A did. But let's go on a little bit more. Yeah, FM, exactly. Redlining, medical apartheid, exactly. All those things which I've covered on this show. So
at Amazon, skills training and apprenticeships can move hourly employees into higher paying roles.
How about the government treats everybody the same? That's the lesson of the civil rights movement. Let's treat everyone the same.
Again, this is the whole coward thing. Like, how about we just treat everyone the same? But your community has never done that. Your community has a history of treating other people not the same. And then he was like, that's what we learned from the civil rights movement. Okay, we learned to treat everybody the same from the civil rights movement. And then they passed crime bills that didn't treat everyone the same. In 1985, after the civil rights, they dropped a bomb on the in Philadelphia, 1985 move bombing, leveled a city block. This was after the civil rights movement. And here Tucker's pretending we're just supposed to be treated all the same. It's like, bro, your government that's ran by people that look like Tucker, you guys aren't in the business of treating everyone the same. And gets pathetic with people on the left, people that want to kiss Tucker's butt because he's anti-war. Like, no, he's not. Like, Tucker is a CIA silver spoon baby. And you say you can tell the system is messed up by looking at our court system. Look at dude in Mississippi. Yeah, Frank Nitti just brought that up. Correct. And it's beyond messed up. Saying that it's messed up is putting it mildly. Literally, like, the dude is not going to be able to get any justice because they've already cleaned their hands, right? They took his throat out. So they can't, so whatever they find is inconclusive. Then they took his stomach, right? So they can't truly get a toxicology report. Then they put his organs back, but they just put his organs like here, y'all want the organs here, and they just threw them back in the body. He had to have a closed casket funeral. They gave him the body like, here, you want to do an autopsy? Yeah, but there's no throat and there's no stomach, like pretty much the things that you do to, oh, and then there were no lungs. Because they said, oh, he allegedly drowned, so they needed to check the lungs for water in the lungs. But guess what? They sent the body to him with no lungs, no throat, and no stomach.
And did you see how, see, like I said earlier, you had the government, see, having the governor come out like that lets you know that this is orchestrated. And this,
yeah, the fix is in.
They're all in it together. And he, I guess, basically showing up. And what I didn't get, you know, what I didn't get is how the eagle face looking friend, what's his name, the one that did the interview. Why would you do? Okay, so my thing is, you do an interview because so your mom comes out. Okay, you scrub your social media, right? Then your mom comes out, makes a statement for you, right? Which is weird and kind of low key, like not even legal because she's a judge, and that can mess up. You know what I mean? What she has going on as a judge, but so. And then
they lawyered up. Why y'all lawyering up?
Why you? And then you lawyer up, but then the thing is, why is the lawyer? I mean, why is the judge's son the one doing the interview? So she so she told you, she put you up on
and the judge obviously she knows the DA and all of the sheriff and all of the power brokers in that area.
Facts. So it's just like you said, the fix is in. I want to say, I'm be honest with you, I really, you know what I'm saying, I hope he gets justice. I really do, right? I'm praying, you know what I'm saying? And but at the same time, it's not looking good, right? And it's looking like now, see,
it's looking bad, bro.
And the crazy thing about it is the DA is the only one, Mississippi is the only one that can actually be able to pick up charge. But they talk about, but see, this is my thing, except if the feds step in, right? But my thing is, see, and a lot of this is, you can tell a lot of this is misinformation, bro. A lot of this is not true information. They're giving us, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of stuff on the internet is not true anyway. Let's just keep it real. You got to take a lot of stuff with a grain of salt on the internet anyway, right? But they, you know, the information they're giving out, they're like, oh, you know, a lot of this stuff is just, it just doesn't, it's just not making it's just not making no sense. You see what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
you know, even like the fact, like I just said, you know, why would the judge's son be the one doing the interview at all? Everybody going into silence and
why are you doing interviews at all, anyway, saying that this is your alleged best friend and stuff? And then not only top of that, you're not doing an interview with TMZ. You're not doing an interview with CNN or MSNBC. You're doing an interview with the known raccoon, Officer Fakem. His whole point is to prove that white people are good and black people deserve whatever happens to them. Right. And then he'll be like, Stephen A., I'm a black man, and look, I talk about black on black crime and all this other type of stuff, right? And this is what I don't like about pathetic people like Officer Tatum, right? Officer Tatum is married to a white chick, right? So he'll look, and Candace Owens does the same thing, right? Candace Owens is married to a white dude, which, hey, fine, love who you love, be with who you want to be with. Both of them have called their children mixed. But if you call their children mixed, they're gonna say that's colorism, and that's the issue with colorism in the black community. It's like, nigga, what? You didn't say, you literally went out of your way to say that your kid's not black, they're mixed. And then when you say, oh, you're right, they're not black, they're mixed, they're biracial. It's a beautiful thing, nothing wrong with that. Then it gets flipped on you. See, the black community, man, y'all just so colorist. It's like, bro, hold on. We're supposed to consider a biracial person fully black, even though white people don't even consider them half white.
Facts.
I mean, look at Obama. Obama is a biracial Kenyan. His dad is Kenyan, his mom is white. Where are the whites that are claiming Obama? No, he's black. It's like, is he though?
You know
so
what?
People go back and forth and try to play these games, and I'm saying this because I'm about to bring this up now. We kind of pivoting, but I'm gonna just bring this up because if you look at Nolan Wells,
you about to say it. My bad. I didn't even interrupt you. You go on and say it. Be easy, because I was just about to say the same thing. But go on and say it. I already know what you want to say.
You can see Nolan Wells clearly has Asiatic features and stuff, right? He's a biracial young man, but see, we consider him black. But he literally is not just black. He's black and Asian. But who is going to bat for him? Blacks only. So that's the thing. When there's a person who's black and white, blacks go to bat for him, even though they're black and white. When Obama was waving his finger, he was telling black people to protect his legacy, but he's part white. So why didn't he tell the whites to protect his legacy? Not only that, Nolan Wells is part Asian. But yet there's no cohort of Asians talking about stop Asian hate and we're the Asians. So this is going to segue right into this video, which this is like rather pathetic that people are still pretending that we have some people of color coalition and all this stuff. These people don't consider themselves a color. So why are you trying to project that onto them? Nolan Wells is part Asian, yet no Asians are speaking up for him. But let's see what she has to say. Hold on, and then we can get into it. Let me pull this down real quick. And chat, I'm gonna get to y'all. I just since this stream took a turn, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up, and I won't be here for too much longer, but let's see what this let her cook.
I think it's very telling that Asian Americans are not talking about the Nolan Wells case in the same way that Black Americans are. A mixed Asian kid was murdered, and I'm not seeing anywhere near as much anger from the Asian American community as I am seeing from the Black community. I'm not trying to pit communities against each other or try to make people lay claims as to what his identity is. What I am saying is the lack of response really shows the kind of purity culture that exists in Asian American communities. From my own experience, unless you are 100% purely Asian, you're basically not Asian anymore. You're something else. And this completely ruins the opportunity for pan-Asian American solidarity. I don't think this started in the United States. I think it stems from many East Asian countries. A lot of East Asian countries push for homogenization, where they expect people to be 100% whatever their country is, be able to speak the language fluently, know all of the mannerisms and all of the different types of food, and like all the different types of food. Be a little bit westernized, maybe speak some English, maybe play the violin or something, but not enough that they lose or dilute their East Asian blood. And I feel like that this cultural standard has leaked into the United States to the point where if someone is half or a quarter Asian. I hate using percentages, but some of you are fucking idiots and don't know how to think outside of that. Then their Asianness is obsolete. Not only should we be pissed off about Nolan Wells' case because he was a child and he was the only Black person in a room full of white people, but he was also the only Asian person too. And I feel like that is not being highlighted enough because Asian Americans are not standing up for him in the same way. If we really want to have a pan-Asian American identity or to understand how we can show up in solidarity for each other, His case is one really good fucking example, and a lot of you are failing.
They failing? I mean, because to them, they would think that they're succeeding. And let me show y'all something else too, right? Because it's not just Nolan Wells. Let me look at this. Do y'all know who this is? This is Rui Hachimura. Now, Rui Hachimura is Japanese. He is a Japanese immigrant. But now that he's in America, he's black. He's African American. No, he's not. He's Asian. He speaks fluent Japanese. But see, this is exactly what she said. If you're not looking like the homogenous people of that particular country, then they discard you. Well, even though he's Japanese, even though he speaks fluent Japanese, he was born in Japanese to Japanese parents, he's black. So they're essentially trying to say that he's not Asian, or then they'll acknowledge that he's both. But like, is he really though? And this is the whole confusing thing, right? I'm supposed to act like Rui Hachimura is of the same lineage. He's African American, you're African American. Like, no, I'm not. And no, he's not. He's Asian American. He's really Japanese American, to get ethnically specific. But the Asians, the Japanese people, they see him as just another nigga until he wins something, right? Once he wins something, yes, that's a win for Japan. It's like, y'all didn't even like him. Y'all was calling him a nigga. Y'all was calling him Gaijin, saying he's not really Japanese. But then if he wins something, yes, he's one of us. Like, you know what I mean? They do it all the time. Jordan Clarkson, suddenly they did it with Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper is the son to an NBA legend, Ron Harper. And they kept talking about his Filipino mama. He got all of his athletic genes from his black daddy, and all they keep talking about, oh my God, his Filipino mama loves him so much. He was raised by his daddy. He got his skills from his daddy. But, you know,
that's that.
This is the game that people like to play.
Excuse me, not to cut you, but
now you good.
That's like you said, when they're successful, right? We want to take on, you know what I'm saying? We want them to take on our attributes, you know what I'm saying? And when they're not successful, you know what I'm saying? Oh, that's the black side. Just like, but it's the opposite when they get here, because that's all American right there. America did the race psyop, right? The America, like we've been saying, everything's a social construct. You know what I'm saying? Social construct.
And so it's fluid, right? It changes, right? So people try to act like it's firm and rigid. Like, no, it changes, which is why Italians weren't white and now they are. Irish people weren't white, now they are. Greeks wasn't white, now they are. Palestinians are considered white right now. Lebanese people are considered white. Egyptians are considered white. And then they won't be considered white. And then maybe they'll can be considered white again. Mexicans were always considered white. Now they're considered Hispanic. But Hispanic is not a race. So many Mexicans actually are still white. That's the construct. You know, people balancing between race, ethnicity, and nationality. It's fluid.
And they get to classify as it too. They get to, a lot of people don't know. These people, when they come over here, man, they got, and see, a lot of time too, it's that's why I be tripping off these white people. Oh man, these immigrants, they're them immigrants, and in your area, so why are you worried? Them immigrants are in our areas. Them immigrants are here to undermine us. But see, that's another scapegoat. Just like China and Russia, they blame China and Russia for fixing their countries and getting their countries together. And but see, you can't blame them because what y'all did is neoliberalism when Reagan got in there. And y'all outsourced everything. Y'all went to the financial sector instead of going into the infrastructure. You see what I'm saying? So it's all like these people. That's why I'm like, damn, you can't even really argue with these motherfuckers, man, because you know, everything down there in America is an image of, you know, that's what they did. For example, crime is manufactured, poverty is manufactured. Ghetto, the word ghetto didn't come from America. Ghetto is a Eastern European German term that was used for just like, for example,
for the Jewish people, that's where they lived at.
They call Jewish people Jews. Why are they not called German? That's their nationality, right? Shouldn't they be called German? But see, that's another thing. We want to call them Jews to give them that, to make it seem like they're different from Germans, and to give them that victimhood. Oh, they're Jews. You feel what I'm saying? But Jews is a creed though, so you can't be that. So yeah, you could be as
Right.
a religion or as a creed, but you can't be that as a people. So it's a lot of games that they play, bro. It's like I
I
already
mean,
beat
look at the delineation in just Jewry, right? Ashkenazi Jews don't think they're the same as Sephardic Jews. Sephardic Jews don't think they're the same as Hasidic Jews. No one could say y'all all Jewish. Stop being divisive, right? Even the Bible thumpers that are Christian, right? People delineating Christianity, right? Latter-day Saints, Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, Pentecostal, right? All people, evangelicals, all praising the good book, but all they have different ideologies, right? And different readings and interpretations of the book, right? And then somebody, it looks like we got a troll in the chat. This person, Melgaham or something like that, you know, saying conspiracy nuts and all sorts of goofy little childish immature stuff. Well,
We
the
got a
link
white
is
dude in
out
the
there.
chat. The white dude in the chat was speaking. He was like, "Man, I don't care what he say." Was it Charles Fail? He was like, "Man, I don't care what you are. Real is real. Truth is truth. That's real." Just like
I
he
can
said right now with
respect
the
Charles, so
application.
salute to Charles. And this is what I'm saying. I'm a humanitarian. I love people of all races, creeds, and orientations. You know what I mean? So I get support from white people. I get support from everyone. So salute to Charles. Now we do got, you feel me, goofy punts like don't do drug kids. I'm not gonna be here too long, but you know what? I'm gonna drop the link one more time because like
My bad,
cats like
B-Eazy.
this.
You be having me not. You be having me rolling, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
That's
just saying
real.
these cats, they always love to talk, and then as soon as you drop the link, they disappear. But the reason why I'm showing this is because he was saying, no, Jason, Officer Tatum, his wife is Hispanic. Yeah, a white Hispanic. There's no race called Hispanic. There's no race called Latino. Everyone that looks at this lady identify her as white. But you trying to pretend, no, she's not white, she's Hispanic. Like, come on, bro. Who are we
Look like
kidding
Laura
here?
Loomer. She looked like that Laura Loomer broad, man. She looked kind of
Yeah,
like her, bro.
another white woman. And to be clear, there's
What does
nothing
what does
wrong
she
with being
identify?
white.
What does she identify as a creed? As a creed? Okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, you know, racially, you know, what is she, right?
Facts.
Because this is what they always try to say to us, right? If the cops pull us over, they just gonna see a black man. Well, if the cops pull her over, they're not gonna see a Hispanic, they're gonna see a white lady.
Ooh.
By that same logic, right? Now, basically, my identity is not based on the cops pulling me over, but you get what I'm saying. And salute to everybody that's rocking out. Salute to Christian Progress, and also salute to, I don't know how to say your name, Uwe Hazy. I'm gonna just go with Uwe. So salute to Uwe, salute to Mr. Black, salute to Charles,
And that
Shia
Honda.
and Sunni Muslim. You said they also have Sephardic Jews who mostly have Arab ancestry or Spanish, one of the two. And that's what I'm saying. Ashkenazis don't try to say that they're the same. And no, thank you, Charles. I do sincerely appreciate your viewership.
And they don't even
And you
really get
said,
along like that, do they? Or when they see these groups get along for the sake of coming together and building stuff, you know what I'm saying, or the sake of keeping something a traditional. But at the same time, other than that, that's it. You see what I'm saying? See, and that's the thing we don't realize. These behind the scenes, these people be having problems. They be talking about each other too in these groups, man. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, let me keep it real. All this religious stuff is a control mechanism. Let's just keep it 100. You see what I'm saying?
correct. This is why I'm not, you know, I'll be spiritual, but I won't be religious, because it also just serves to divide you. Imagine I'm trying to bring the brothers together and somebody like, I can't come together because you are atheist or you a Muslim or you a Hindu. Like, we're trying to enrich our community, but we're stopping because based on, you know, the book or the faith that we have, and none of that faith is going to save you, right? Like right now, if you need to pay your bill, you know, the Quran is not going to help you pay your bill. It's just not. But your neighbor who happens to be a brother who may be atheist or who may be a Christian, he could help you. You know, you need a jump, your car is stranded, you need a jump, but you only want to get a jump from a Muslim. It's like, okay, like I got a Buddhist partner that will come and give you a jump. No, it got to be a Muslim. Like, how stupid does that sound? And that's the same way that it sounds too when someone is pretending that they can't build unless we all call each other generic Africans, right? We can't come together and say, hey, you're Haitian, you're Nigerian, you're Senegalese, I'm a freedman. Let's build something together. No, we could only build if we all call each other African American. How goofy does that sound, bruh? And you said they seem to all get along. All three groups are in Israel, but they exclude Iraq Jews. They seem to have problems with Russian Jews as well. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of stuff going on. And Mr. Black, where are you from, bro? Let me know. What city or state are you in? Because I do got a lot of East Coast family, and I am gonna get ready to shut this thing down pretty soon. Let me try to go back to the Tucker video. I'm gonna play one more quick scene of that, and then we'll be up out of here.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Within this country that are of that mindset, and I respect for a lengthy period.
Same. That's the lesson.
Okay.
All those things which I've covered on this show. So, you know.
How about the government treats everybody the same? That's the lesson of the civil rights movement. Let's treat everyone the same.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
And this is the other pathetic thing about Tucker when he talks about the civil rights movement, when the majority of the country didn't even support the civil rights movement, and now they're pretending like, yeah, we fought for the civil rights movement. Like, no, you didn't. You guys were against it. When they did a Gallup poll before MLK got assassinated, because people try to just gloss over that, right? Medgar Evers was assassinated. Fred Hampton was assassinated. Malcolm X was assassinated, right? And notice this, they always talk about black on black crime, and I'm not advocating for violence, but why didn't they assassinate any of those gang leaders? They hate the gang leaders. We hate the thugs. We hate the degenerates. Malcolm X wasn't degenerate. Martin Luther King wasn't degenerate. So they assassinate the people who are not degenerate and then complain about the degenerates. They fund the degenerates. Here, rap about some degenerate stuff. And then I'm going to complain about you rapping about some degenerate stuff, even though I funded you to rap about degenerate stuff. And then I'm going to blame it on black culture, even though there's no black person in the boardrooms forcing them to put out the music. Those labels could say, hey, look, we only are hiring artists that don't use nigga in their rhyme. Instead, they say, hey, anybody can use nigga, just don't use any Jewish slurs, just don't use any gay slurs, right? Don't call anybody a yagget with an F in front, right? But you can say nigga. Matter of fact, you can say nigger, right? You know what I mean? And we'll give you a check, right? And then we'll complain about how degenerate it is, and then we'll pay you to keep being degenerate. Welcome to America. Let's get back into it.
We should treat everyone the same, but it doesn't. That's the problem.
Right there. What if I said to you, Tucker, you got a 50-yard head start? And guess what? You've been operating at a 50-yard head start for a lengthy period of time. And in order to equal the playing field, I've got to get a head start to be able to catch up to you. Because essentially, that's what you have a black populace or a minority populace in this country articulating to some degree anyway. I understand your
I have
point
the numbers on that. So
two wrongs don't make a right.
Right. Okay.
I'm saying two wrongs don't make a right. I get that part. But if you're talking about, there's a lot of folks.
And look at Stephen A. tap dancing, explaining two wrongs don't make a right. What do you mean two wrongs? There are no two wrongs. So he's considering that black people being discriminated against, that was wrong, right? But then if you try to compensate the black peoples for the history of the racial terror, well, that's two wrongs, and you can't do. It's like, what the hell? How was that wrong? Like, we didn't lynch anybody. We didn't have no restaurants that said no whiteys, no crackers allowed. We didn't have that. We weren't redlining white people. We didn't mass incarcerate white people. We didn't do sharecropping, debt peonage. We didn't run highways through white neighborhoods to destabilize them. So here, Stephen A. Sambo, two wrongs don't make it right. Like, so essentially he's saying something like affirmative action is wrong, even though affirmative action mainly benefited white women. And Stephen A. won't say this stuff because he likes to kiss white mommies and daddy's butt. So if affirmative action mainly benefited white women, it means it mainly benefited the white community because most white women are married to white men. A boon and boost for the white family is a boost for the white community. So again, He's trying to frame you. So they racially target black people. And then when you try to compensate them for that racial targeting, well, 2 wrongs don't make it right. Like, nigga, what are you talking about, Stephen A? And Stephen A.
And you know what, nigga? You acting like a little bitch right now. You acting like a little bitch right now, nigga. Man, fuck that. I ain't letting that shit ride.
Come on, bro. This nigga's over here just a straight goofball. Go ahead and chime in, Frank, before I play some more.
Man, I mean, you're right. You know, that head start, man. And he was right about that head start, but you're right. It's like, you know, this dude Tucker, man, like we said, he come from wealth. You see what I'm saying? He comes from money, you know, so he's not gonna look at it. But my thing is, it's like talking to a cat like Tucker anyway. It's like talking to, you know, arguing with a brick wall. You know what I'm saying? Watching paint dry. You know what I'm saying? It's like this dude, you know, these people are just they're not even, they're out of touch, man. He out of touch. He don't, you know, you could tell he racist, right? But see, what Tucker do, he'll go on there with somebody, what they do to a pastor, because they passive aggressive, these racist motherfuckers. They'll go on there with somebody that look like us, right? And give off that front. Oh yeah, okay, I'm not ready. You know what I'm saying? Or give I got our black friends type. You know what I'm saying? It's all passive aggressiveness. You see, it's all a lot of it. I see a lot of it's really rage baiting, gaslighting, especially in this internet age, the social media age. So you see what I'm saying? So, I mean, this dude, man, but it's reactionary. It's shock jock type. You know what I'm saying? Howard Stern type. You see what I'm saying? But with a little bit more of a political. You see what I'm saying? Edge to it, but you know, this dude is. I'm not surprised. None of this stuff seems to amaze me. He always says outlandish and does outlandish stuff like this. But then it's funny how he'll try to go against Israel. Oh, you're gonna try to be like against Israel or something. But bro, see, you're half. So that's half. So the glass is half empty and half full. You see what I'm saying? People like that, you can't trust them anyway. And I mean, he's a low key, smart dude and everything, but at the same time. You know, a lot of these people do deceptive tactics like that, like doing that half glass, half full type analogy. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, so, you know, it's a lot of psychological aspects and stuff like that, too, when it comes down to these people, too, man. You see what I'm saying? But
let me play some more of it.
All right.
Within this country that are of that mindset, and I respectfully disagree, but the key word is respectfully, because I understand where you're coming from. I'm just simply saying, if you've been operating as a society, as a community, with a head start for a lengthy period of time, how is the playing field ever supposed to be equaled if we were never given a come up? I mean, at some point in time, that premise has to be addressed, does it not?
Right.
Now look at Tucker Carlson's face. Like, what is bro mugging about? Like, what is he even mad about? Like, he's always talking about they, and he won't say who the they is. They want you to hate your neighbor. He's pretending like Stephen A. Smith is his friend. Like, bro, what do you got this little bitter beer face for, bro? What are you mugging for? You're worth millions of dollars, bro, and you're over here wallowing in white victimhood. White people are victims. It's like, bro, if they are being victimized, it's other whites that are victimizing them. It's white on white conflict, bro. Hold your own nuts and hold your community accountable, Tucker.
I mean, look, I would say, I think.
So Stephen A. has a point here. He's right. Like, how do you fix that? How do you fix that? If you're not going to say, okay, well, you guys have been behind for all these years because of the laws that were put in place. How do you fix that if you don't give opportunity? Remember what I was telling you guys about those federal jobs, right? So in my documentary, one of the things that I discovered after living in Boston for so many years.
And I'm going to just fast forward a little bit more just because I got to get up out of here. So hold on.
The basis of their skin color. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Oh, you do agree with
what
that?
I'm saying.
Okay, then
I totally agree.
Okay, well, then
we're done. I'm not disagreeing
that this wasn't just a Jim Crow thing. So think about that. So you already behind. So to Stephen A. Smith point, how do you fix that then?
It's really important to articulate why racial discrimination is bad. And because it's bad, it's always bad, no matter who commits it, period.
Okay.
Period. Mm-hmm. It's inherently bad to judge people and to punish people on the basis of their skin color. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Oh, you do agree with
what
that?
I'm saying.
But his whole premise is that, like, he's saying it's bad to judge people based on their skin tone, to punish people based on their skin tone. But his community has been doing that for not a few years, not for decades, for centuries. And the only thing is he's saying, like, yeah, that was bad and you shouldn't do that, but get over it. That's essentially what he's saying. So why are you talking about how bad it was? Like, he doesn't tell any other group to get over it. And then let's just say, okay, fine, we need to get over it. Then don't the whites need to get over it? He's over here whining white people are victims. Well, you guys need to get over it, right? You told us to get over slavery, get over Jim Crow, get over mass incarceration, get over COINTELPRO. Well, if the whites are selling out other whites, then get over it, Tucker. What are you doing about it? All Tucker is doing is getting on a podcast and whining. He's whining about other whites, you know, oppressing and subjugating the entire country. But, you know, he keeps saying, well, they want to keep us apart. The they are the people in your community, Tucker.
Okay, then you
I
can't support.
totally agree.
Okay, well, then
I'm
we're
not,
done.
I'm not
Conversation ended.
No,
We
I'm not.
agree.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm simply.
And then look at the gaslights it. Hey, we're done. Conversation over. No, the conversation isn't over. They just a couple years ago, they had the Federal Credit Union when they didn't want to even give loans to black people. Even now, don't take my word for it. Look all of this stuff up. A white high school dropout has a more likely chance of an upward trajectory, upward mobility than a black college graduate. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. All these people talk about meritocracy. So a black college graduate is valued lower than a white dropout. Hey, why are you making it about race? No, that stat is making it about race. And if it wasn't about race, why are you guys recording racial stats? These people will say don't make it about race, and then the very next sentence they'll talk about black on black crime. I thought you didn't want to make it about race. So they don't want to make anything about race, but they always want to make crime about race. Then they'll talk about fatherless homes and black. Like, why are you making fatherless homes about black people? Are there no fatherless homes in the white community? Yeah, but per capita. And then they start pivoting, right? But then again, a per capita argument is another racial argument. So all of these people, they pretend they don't want to make it about race, but that's all they do. If there's a crime and there's a school shooter, before people know how many bodies were dropped, what do they want to know? What race was the shooter? Hey, but don't make it about race. You're the one obsessed with race, though. His community, they didn't just create the race card, they created the whole deck of cards. And then if you happen to play a card out of the race card that they created, why are you playing the race card? It's like, bro, you created the deck. So again, what are you whining for?
Pointing out that, again, if the objective is to have a fair and equitable society for all, how is that supposed to be accomplished if folks are operating from behind the eight ball because of years of laws and policies and things that subjugated a community in this country? How is that supposed to ever
think
happen?
that people whose ancestors were dragged here against their will in slavery are at a disadvantage. However,
so he just said that we're at a disadvantage. However, that's all almost like, hey, I feel your pain, but, and they say nothing good's come after but. So rather than say but, he said however. So we already know that, so he's going to say they're disadvantaged. However, like there is no however, just like he said earlier, conversation finished. We're disadvantaged. We need to focus on how not to get disadvantaged. But then he's going to pivot into some, yeah, y'all disadvantaged, but what about the model minorities? Let's see what he has to say.
I think it's a lot more complicated than you're saying. I think that
Pause. We're going to let him finish here, but everybody heard what Tucker Carlson just said. People who live in the U.S. who come from slavery ancestors are at a disadvantage. And I will say to this, thank you for admitting that. Now, what he goes on to say from here, I don't have to push back on this part because he lost me a little bit when he goes to this part.
That does hurt people generationally. Clearly it does.
However, people what?
The idea that
hurts people generationally. So Tucker Carlson is letting me know that
So we don't want to hear him whining. He said it hurts people generationally, not for a few years, for generations. So he understands, and then he's still gonna pivot. But what about the model minorities? Let's see what he has to say.
Okay. So here's the thing. When you look at the wealth chart, and Eric, if you can find it, if you can't find it, that's fine. But I've shown it on the show before. When you look at the wealth chart, it shows you right now in the United States, when you look at the racial demographic of who's at the top for wealth, right now it's Asian Americans are at the top. White people are second. Guess who's at the bottom? Black Americans. We've been at the bottom, and we've.
And see, they say numbers don't lie, but you could lie with numbers. Now, let me do this because they always do this thing that, oh my God, Asians are killing it. Yeah, some are, but see, and this is where it gets confusing with the whole construct of race, ethnicity, and nationality, not for me, but for many others, right? So don't worry, we gonna get into this thing, right? So who really controls the wealth? Like when you think about who owns most of the Fortune 500 companies, is it Asian? I said 74% of Congress is white, not Asian. But let's see what the Brookings Institution, as a collective group, you see what it says. White Americans hold the overwhelming majority of total national wealth. Don't take my word for it. This is from the Brookings Institution. The share of total wealth, 80 to 84% of all the total wealth in the United States is held by whites, and they make up 65% of all households. Now, the drivers is this concentration is primarily given by intergenerational assets transfers, higher rates of real estate ownership, and significant holdings in corporate stocks and business equities. Now, this is what people are talking about. The median household per average, when measuring a typical household level using the Federal Reserve survey, then the Asian American households and white households top the list. But this is where it gets a little bit tricky, right? With the key of the nuance. While Asian Americans as a broad demographic show the highest median wealth and income, is driven largely by high levels of educational attainment and concentration in high-paying sectors like tech, medicine, and finance. This group also experiences the largest internal wealth and inequality of any racial group in the U.S. High earning subgroups like Indian or Japanese Americans skew the overall average upward, while other subgroups like Burmese, Hmong, or Cambodian Americans face significantly higher rates of poverty and economic vulnerability. So they sample of the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Japanese, the Koreans, and say, hey, look at this group of model minorities. They're doing so much good, but it skews all the other Asian groups that are doing bad or just doing decent, right? Now, this framing is often referred to as the model minority myth. It's widespread in omitting the stark economic disparities within Asian American communities, usually stem from three main drivers. One, the data aggregation, the monolithic statistic trap. For decades, government agencies, researchers, and media outlets grouped dozens of Asians and ethnic populations under one sweeping label of Asian American Pacific Islander. When you combine data for over 20 distinct ethnic groups into a single average, high earning and highly educated groups such as Indian, Japanese, or Filipino households mathematically pull the median way up. Now, this masks the reality for other communities, like I said. So there's also been selective immigration laws and hyper-selectivity. The demographic makeup of Asian was heavily reshaped by the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. So they had these high-skill visas, so they were prioritizing educated minorities that had money. So you're comparing these people who had money in their country, who were doctors in their country, to the entire population. So you'll compare a handful of Chinese doctors to, some thugs in Baltimore and say, see, look, the Asians are just doing better. They're not coming over here and comparing A+ students to other A+ students. They're comparing A+ international students to some kids that went to a failing school, and they say, see, it's just their culture, right? So also refugee resettlement. Conversely, large populations from Southeast Asia arrived in the 70s and 80s, fleeing war and political upheaval with few financial resources or formal education. Lumping those who arrived on professional work visas together with refugee population creates a false picture that everyone started from the same place. Hence the model minority myth. Now, the term model minority was explicitly coined in the 60s, notably in 1966, the New York Times, a socialist named William Peterson. And this was during the height of civil rights movement. Basically, the model minority myth was to say, hey, look, it's the niggas who complaining. Look at the model minorities. Look at the whiz kids. They seem to be doing fine, but they weren't bringing in poor immigrants. They were bringing in, people who had money from a foreign background and then comparing them to someone who was socially ostracized, right? Now, why this persists today is because of the media representation, pop culture, and news media. They still disproportionately highlight high income professions when depicting Asian Americans, while working class service industry and refugee experiences remain largely invisible in national conversations, right? Not every Asian person is just killing it economically. Now, there are policy blind spots because aggregate numbers look strong. Social programs, nonprofits, and policy initiatives often overlook low-income Asian neighborhoods or exclude them from targeted financial aid and support funding. So there may be some poor, broke Asians and they looking like, hey man, y'all Asians are killing it. Y'all the model minority. Yeah, maybe the Chinese people are, but that doesn't mean that the Cambodians are killing it, right? So, now when we look at this, right, there's something called the bamboo ceiling, right? They always talk about, oh my God, the Asians are so great. And then, the same people that are calling them great, they don't really want to hire them like that, at least not in positions of leadership. So, I can go on and on, but I do want to get ready to shut this thing down. But the other thing I want to say is when you're talking about, you got to look at the words. They talk about the immigrants and they talk about the household size on average, comparing raw household income without adjusting for household size or the number of working earners in that house. It's like comparing apples to oranges. Many immigrant families have a multitude of people living there that are earning. Many Americans, on average, U.S. native born average 2 to 5 people or 2.5 people per household. Foreign born average 3.1 to 3.4 per household. Now, if household A has 2 working parents making $50,000 each, that's $100,000 total for 3 people. And if household B, i.e. an immigrant family, has 3 working adults making $35K each, that's $105K total for 5 people. Household B has higher household income, but lower individual income and higher expenses per person, right? The number of earners factor. Asian American and high earning African immigrant households like Nigerian Americans have higher rates of married couple, families, and multiple adult earners per home. So not only are they have a higher rate of marriage, they also have a higher rate of bringing their whole family too. So a household with 2 or 3 full-time salaries naturally inflates the aggregate household income compared to a single parent or single earner home, right? You may be a single parent and then they're comparing you to an Asian household with 4 earners. And then they try to say, well, you shouldn't have had them kids out of wedlock. You should have got married. Well, even if you got married, there was no guarantee that you were going to be earning as much as them. Because remember, many of those people came with already degrees and things established. Now, to get an apples to apples comparison, economies use per capita, the total group income divided by the total population in that group. Now, when you look at per capita instead of household income, the gap between white and Asian individuals earning shrink substantially because white households have fewer people per home on average. Now, within specific immigrant communities, South Asian, East Asian, Western African, per capita numbers reveal that while household totals look massive, the money is stretching across more dependents or multi-generational family members, both in the U.S. and often via remittances sent abroad. Now, I can go on, but I just want to let people know that, hey, when you talk about, oh my God, the Asians are just killing it. And yeah, some of them are, not the entire Asian population is just killing it like that. And again, who is running the country? 74% of Congress is white, not Asian. And if Asians are so smart, which I'm not saying they're not, shouldn't people be clamoring for an Asian president, right? We should want to have a litany of Asians running the country. But is that what people are pushing for? Why or why not?
You stayed at the bottom. We've never gotten past the bottom. Big part of that is those laws I was just talking about, the redlining, all those other things. When a lot of times when you're coming from countries like Nigeria, et cetera, a lot of times those people already have money before they come here. I had college, friends that were Nigerian American. Some of my college friends were Nigerian American.
Well, I think you guys get the gist. But if you guys are feeling this stream, I will come back and do an extended version of this stream. So I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. And Frank Nitty, go ahead and take us home. Give us some closing remarks on anything that you've heard, you know what I mean, and that you want to add to the stream.
I ain't gonna be too long-winded, man, but man, good looking out for bringing me on, man. It's a good topic, real good topic. Especially like a person like Tucker Carlson that was contemplating on being a CIA agent. That's so that lets you know
that his daddy was, right?
Right, exactly. So mom's a Swanson heiress. This dude. That right there lets me know. I don't have to say that he's an agent. I don't have to, what I'm saying, or those conspiracy, those don't have to go around because that's fact. That's low key fact. So people like him, I can't be trusted. Kind of like a Chud the Builder type, like a agent provocateur type. But the only thing is, you were on an actually national syndicated news network, right? But that's a good topic, man. I like how you bring up a lot of topics about how they deflect, they move the goalposts. It's a lot of hypocrisy. You see what I'm saying? Just like these national, they don't, they go by national. They don't. In other countries, they'll go by nationality. For example, like say if you black or something like that. Most likely they'll say they'll notice you're a person of quote unquote color or a dark person, but they're a lot of times going to identify you as American. Oh, that's the American, right? By your nationality. So that lets you know right here too that a lot of that stuff is it's just all by design. It's
literally called delineation. Look at what Tucker did, right? Tucker was talking about, okay, the black, he delineated, right? He said this specific, let's just say foundational American descendant of slave population, right? That's essentially what he was saying. By him wording it like that, that's a delineation. He's saying that this specific population is a distinct population. And then he delineated again and he said, hey, look how good the Nigerians are doing. And this is how it gets confusing, right? So there's no separate category for Nigerians. So they'll be like, the Nigerians are killing it. So that means all of their quote unquote good numbers are mixed in with ours. But then all of their quote unquote bad numbers are mixed in with ours too, right? So if there's a bunch of Nigerians graduating, it's going to be under black African American. It's not going to be under Nigerian. But the same thing, if there's a bunch of Nigerians committing scams, it's under black African American. You see what I'm saying? But then when they get a degree, they want to make sure Nigeria stand up and they start flying the Nigerian flag. So it's like, bro, that's fine. Just fly the flag all the time, right? Look at what's happening with the Haitians. Haitians are classified as Black African American, right? We all the same. But when they're getting deported, they're not calling them Black and they're not calling them African American. So which one is it? So if you know that they're Haitian all the time, then let's just call them Haitian all the time. Don't tell me to call them African American and Black when they're here, but then when they gotta go, can't forget they're Haitian. Well, I did forget because you wasn't calling them Haitian. So let's just call them Haitian, and let's just call them Nigerian, and let's just call them Senegalese. Somehow that's turned into like being xenophobic to call somebody what they really are. Are you Nigerian? Yeah. All right, cool. I'm gonna call you a Nigerian American. That's xenophobic. It's like, bro, did I lie? Like where was the lie? It's the same thing they do with Obama. Obama called himself biracial before, and Michelle Obama called him biracial. But if you call him biracial, somehow that's colorism. And then I ask, is Obama Kenyan? Yes. Is he biracial? Yes. So what's the issue with me calling him a biracial Kenyan? No, you gotta call him the first Black president. It's like, come on, bruh. It's just gets nauseating, bruh.
Facts. And they always do that, man. And it's see, that's the way psychologically confusing people, man. And a lot of it's just like, for example, like a lot of us coming up missing or getting shot. That's the way to desensitize them. You see what I'm saying? You make us feel some kind of way as far as Black people, the people that it's happening to, and you desensitize other races. You see what I'm saying? To not feel some kind of way about you and not care so much. You see what I'm saying? And that's why why this Nolan Wells thing is going around, happening. And the other brother that got killed, the 13-year-old, the other day by this white dude. While all this is going on, or white kid, excuse me. While all this is going on, you notice that they're showing Black crime too. They're showing Black. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm noticing that. Like, they're showing Black people, random Black people doing this on the news, and I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. But meanwhile, with the 13-year-old, they're not really putting that on the news like that, on mainstream media like that. So they got to show you. You see what I'm saying? When they show stuff that's happening to you, at the same time, they got to show you. They're going to show crime that you're supposedly doing, right? Just like they had the immigrant Somalian dude. They got his picture plastered. Oh, he did this and this and that. They're doing all this for a reason, bro. So they could like, oh, okay. Well, there's a reason why we're killing them. Because look, they're committing. You see what I'm saying? It's all psychological. Like the dude in the chat said earlier with the what's the dude Lee Atwater with the you see what I'm saying, switching up the code words and stuff like that type of stuff, all that southern strategy stuff like that.
Yeah, he said you can't say nigga, you gotta say states' rights and busing. You gotta, yeah.
But see, I noticed they're doing that, but at the same time, you know what they're doing though with this social media stuff? They're doing a lot of gaslighting. You see what I'm saying? Just like they're saying division in Mississippi. Oh, he's causing division. How was this lawyer guy that got hired from the family because you're acting and being suspicious about it? How is he causing division when Mississippi? There's a movie about Mississippi burning about journalists going there and getting killed, and it's kind of like something similar happening in Nolan. They being found somewhere. So I mean, you see what I'm saying?
They're allegedly known for like organ harvesting. I covered a story where they had a goon squad where they tortured this Black dude all because he had a white girlfriend. They took a dildo and sodomized him. They was putting the dildo in his mouth. They pulled his pants down and sodomized him with a dildo. The dude put a gun in his mouth and shot him. He blew off like part of his lip and cheek. They were waterboarding them with milk. This was only a couple years ago, and it didn't there were not a bunch of quote unquote people of color talking about it, minorities, no Democrats or anything talking about it, right? So,
you might have to,
but
man,
yeah,
you have to do something. You might have to, do something about it.
Yeah.
That was in Mississippi, right?
Correct. It was in Mississippi. All you got to do is type in the random words. Type in Mississippi Goon Squad sodomizes, or if you type in sodomizes individuals or waterboards them with milk, all of it will pop up.
Man,
but shout out to last call, Mr. Midnight Soul, chatting from an undisclosed location in Northern America. You came at the tail end. We about to shut it down.
Well, my thing is, man, we gotta stay vigilant, man. We gotta stay watchful, man. We gotta really, keep our eyes open, man. And just really, like like, and I'm glad that you be breaking out a lot of this hypocrisy and stuff like that, and these double standards too. A lot of us got to be hip to a lot of this. You see, we got to stay hip. We got to stay vigilant, man. We got to stay aware. You see what I'm saying? Because these people, they're at this point, man. It's an open war with us. It's an all-out war. You see what I'm saying? We at war. I mean, and it's you know, on so many couple different fronts. So I'm out here in Southern California, right? It's crazy out here. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I know Northern Cal. I know y'all still got a lot of. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of blackness still out here, but Southern California, it's like purge out here. You see what I'm saying? They don't. And it's crazy because of the Democrat state. They make it seem like it's so non-racial and so harmony and so you know, YMCA type thing, but that's furthest from the truth. You see what I'm saying? Just because in the South it's more white and black, but it's more white racism, doesn't mean that you go to a place where it's more inner minorities, right? And it's not going to be no inner minority racism towards you. So you know that's another thing. You see what I'm saying? And that's why they use the people of color those buzzwords. That's why they use the minorities. That's why they use the model minorities. That's why they use all these. You see what I'm saying? As mechanisms. You see what I'm saying? You know, that's why I'm just like, man, it's all a game. But like we were saying, man, the government ain't no scandalous dude from South Central making these gas prices go up, right? Making it to where mortgage prices are sky high, making it to where the interest rates are through the roof, right? That's farthest from the truth. And see, we're used as political footballs and scapegoats, and you know we got to really see this, man. We really got to see it for what it is. We got to just know that we had open war. We really have to prepare, but at the same time, just be more knowledgeable and aware, man. And you see what I'm saying, and have more communication. And programs like this is good, man. You know, so we can spread dialogue and awareness, man. Because a lot of us, you see what I'm saying, it's like there's a lot of going on right now, man. And this is also good too because we can tap in from different states and different, you see, some parts of the country, man. So, but like I said, man, we got to stay on it. You know, just be aware of a lot of this stuff out here because, like I said, I'm out here Southern California, man. It's racist. You know what I'm saying? The policies is crazy. I don't see how Karen Bass just got back in and won it again. I guess, well, my bad. She does for Hispanic people. So why wouldn't I say that? You know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't I think that? So
yeah, that was, of course, she was gonna get back in.
You know, it's all, you know, and it's all by design. You see what I'm saying? And see, they put token people up there that look like us, right? To make it seem like they're going to do so much, and so much has changed. But at the same time, those people are just really to do for the white elites and a little something for the immigrants, right? And that's it. Just like, for example, if she was a Republican, right, she would do something for the white elites, and she would do something for like, you know what I'm saying, like Trump rural supporters or whatever the fuck, right? But other than that, it's like it's the same. It's all the same. Just like we've been saying, man. Democrat, Republican, it's two wings of the same bird. You see what I'm saying? It's good cop, bad cop. You see what I'm saying? And as the more of us realize, the more of us start to wake up, the more us see. You see what I'm saying? But it can't just be so-called black people, though, right? Like we can't just be the only ones in this country. Like, you see what I'm saying? It got to be. But at the same time, we're in his image anyway. So that's why we're righteous, man, and that's why our light shines, man, and a lot of other people's don't. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying that just because you black, you woke, just because, you see what I'm saying, that you could see that fine line and had their eye open. But at the same time, I'm seeing a lot of them are just like, just look at the comments and look at the type of stuff that they say and respond to when it comes down to, like, look how Tucker Carlson, you see what I'm saying, was just, it didn't make any sense. But so how you gonna say stuff oppresses us and stuff is gonna hurt, stuff has hurt us for multiple generations, but at the same time, you see what I'm saying, gonna go to another, the Asian and the Africans, nah, man, we're not talking about that. We call, and then remember what before, like you said on that show, he delineated, it was like FBA, and that's when they was going at, I think I forget which candidate they was going at.
Byron Donalds.
Yeah, it was Donalds, huh? Yeah, and then that was that one, I think that was his competitor that was on his show, whatever, to do with the glasses. So I mean, well, I don't know, man, but like I said, it's a good program, man, good dialogue.
All right, well, yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing down. I appreciate you. And yeah, I mean, I'll probably come back and hit y'all with another one. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Y'all chose to be here with me, at least momentarily, and for that, I thank you. So I'm gonna end this thing. Thanks, Frank Nitty. I appreciate you. Sincere, John, Charles, all the people in the chat, the new subs, the people that are watching this on the replay gang. I appreciate y'all. So I'm gonna shut it down.
Oh yes, salute,
Peace.
and peace. Oh yeah.